it was a big deal. It was one of the first big meetings between a footballer and a showbiz star. David Beckham was at the height of his career. He was playing for Manchester United, he was playing for England, but he was marrying someone who was even bigger back in the day than himself. One of the Spice Girls, the biggest band in the world at the time, Victoria Beckham. They'd conquered England, they'd conquered America, and they were on a big high. And it was a fairy tale union between one of the world's biggest football stars, one of the world's biggest showbiz stars. So it was a big deal. So there was a lot of press there, as you can imagine, all sent out to fittingly a castle for such a fairy tale event. I'm just sat outside Dublin, and everyone knew it was going to be hard work. OK Magazine had paid £1 million for exclusive rights to this wedding. And there was no way they were going to let anyone get a sniff of what was going on, having paid such big money for such a big event where you didn't only have David and Victoria there, you had the whole of the Manchester United team, and you had the remaining Spice Girls. Of course, Jerry had left the group about 12 months earlier, but you still had Mel B there, you had Mel C there, you had Emma there, and of course the gorgeous bride Victoria marrying David. And they'd had a son already, and they were deeply in love, and it was a big deal. So we all went to Dublin, and the castle was about 20 miles outside of Dublin, and went to cover an enormous event. The wedding was in a very secluded part of the castle, underneath big bushes, and then you had about sort of an army of 40, 50 security staff. And we got, as I say, pitched of the guests arriving. So we had some live images, and as we all know, images are all important. And then very late in the evening, we got the Manchester United team in very high spirits. You know, they were on a high in football terms. They all liked David. They were a very close bunch back then. And so there was some fun to be had, even though we didn't get the sort of moment that the couple exchanged their wedding vows. But we still, of course, had plenty of material, as we always do get. But the big scoop came the following day. I was with the wonderful photographer, Mark Giddings, who I did a lot of work with in my time at The Sun. And we'd been up watching events. So the big coach with all the Man United team left the wedding at about 4 a.m. and they were partying till 6 a.m. But Mark and I got up at about sort of 8, 9 the following day just to go and have a look at the scene, early doors. We drove straight into the venue, and there, just in a field, discarded amongst all of the other wedding memorabilia, was his and her thrones that David and Victoria just sort of 12 hours earlier had sat on at the wedding party. And so we jumped at the chance for me to try out one of the thrones, and it was comfortable. I still remember it being very comfortable. And we lauded it up as David and Victoria had done at their wedding the day before. We tried out the thrones, but we'd heard so much about it. It was quite nice to see them. And as always happens at a wedding, someone has to sort of take down the marquee and leave stuff aside. And I remember it being very nice weather, considering it's Ireland, where I'm sure we've all been rained on a lot. So although it was open to the elements, it wasn't raining. And yeah, it made for a bit of fun. I didn't have a crown or anything like that, as David had done, but trying out the crown. And also next door to the two thrones, a little crib, because Brooklyn Beckham, who's the eldest of their 4 children, had been born and had taken a part in the wedding, and they'd put him in a crypt as well. So it was quite nice to see it all, and very much enjoyed lauding it up like David. I've got huge respect for the man and his wife Victoria. To stand the test of time in the way they have, and still to be on top of their game after so many years. You know, Bram Beckham is still strong. They've got 4 adorable children. They share a lot of wonderful intimate pictures on Instagram of themselves with their children. And they're enjoying life, and I think he's been a great ambassador for the country. And maybe now is the time they're married, celebrating their silver jubilee, for him to finally be knighted. Who knows? Who knows? A lot of others have been, who maybe have not achieved as much for the country as David and Victoria, in my opinion. I say good luck to them. There's a lot of people who don't even survive 3 or 4 years nowadays in a showbiz wedding, and 25 years is a very impressive figure. and they've got four wonderful children, all doing well in their own fields as well.